I am N.S. Venkatraman. I am speaking on behalf of Nandini Consultancy Center, a chemical engineering and chemical business consultancy organization based in Chennai and Singapore. It is now nearly 3 years since Sterlite copper unit in Tuticorin region in Tamil Nadu have been forcibly closed down by the government of Tamil Nadu. Government of Tamil Nadu took this decision to shut down the Sterlite copper unit after a violent agitation launched by some environmentalists, some political parties, and some unknown sources. This violent agitation resulted in police firing and death of a few unfortunate persons. Given this scenario, after this event, the unit has been remaining closed for over 3 years now. As a result of the closure of the Sterlite copper, there have been a lot of adverse consequences to Tamil Nadu, to India, local people, and so on. Let us look into the adverse consequences that have happened due to the closure of Sterlite copper, the reason why Sterlite copper should be reopened, some of the allegations made against the Sterlite copper, which were found to be not true later on, and also what should be the progressive and proactive attitude of the government of Tamil Nadu towards Sterlite copper. Let us look into this issue in a dispassionate manner, one by one. Now, let us look into the Indian copper scenario. In view of the considerable increase in the global demand for copper and at the same time, number of power infrastructure projects, construction and industrial activities in India, demand for copper in India has increased by as much as 27.5% in 2021-22. The demand was 12.5 lakh ton in 2021-22, and it was up from 9.78 lakh ton in 2020-21. During 21-22, demand for copper from the power infrastructure sector in India has increased over 75%, while it increased by 25.3% in the building sector and 26.3% in the industrial sector. Consumer durable sector demand was 12.8%. In the coming years, more copper will be needed to achieve the government's target of carbon neutral scenario in the country. The copper requirement of electric vehicles are 4 times as much as the requirement of traditional automobiles. As copper is a key component in electric vehicles and the renewable sector, it is necessary to strengthen domestic availability of copper in any way that is possible. Any supply shortage for copper would hamper India's progress towards net zero emission target. There is no doubt about this. With India currently being a net importer of copper, India is likely to face a shortage scenario for copper in the coming years. In such scenario, there is urgent need and compelling need to increase the production of copper in India. Now, what is the global scenario with regard to copper? Let's have a look at this. There is a tight global supply scenario for copper today, and the price has been increasing steadily. Copper supply is under stress globally, particularly due to political developments in Peru, a Latin American country, where the last Bambasa mine halted production of copper in February 2023 due to local conflicts and political uncertainties. China's industrial growth is expected to be 5% in 2023, and this could result in greater demand for copper in China and consequently in the world. The combination of faster than expected recovery in Chinese demand and a fall in Latin American supply, as well as amidst low inventories in the global market, all these factors would drive copper price higher in the global market in the coming years. It is expected that copper price would remain high in the year 2023. As the global demand for copper is in the rise in view of net zero emission targets being set by different countries across the world, copper prices have increased to 10,000 US dollar per ton in 2022 from its average price of 6,023 US dollar per ton in 2018, which points to the importance of copper production in India. The international price of copper has been spiraling at steady rate. Now, what is the factors that have led to the closure of the Sterlite copper unit in India? Let us have a look at this. When India is present, see what scenario in India with regard to copper is looking best for. Let us look into this. While India's present installed capacity of copper is 1.02 million ton per annum, India produced less than half this quantity, just around 4.42 lakh tons during the January-December 2021. This has been mainly due to the closure of the Indian smelter copper unit in Tamil Nadu in the year 2018. When Sterlite copper was operating, India was net exporter of copper. India has now become a net importer of copper due to reduced domestic production consequent to the closure of Sterlite copper. India now has to spend several thousands of crores of rupees in foreign exchange every year for import of copper. The dependence on the import, and particularly the likely spiraling price of copper in the international market, poses a grim threat for Indian copper scenario in the coming years. Now, let us look into this performance of the Sterlite copper. Vedanta Sterlite copper was functioning in Tuticorin Sipcot Industrial Complex since its inception in 1996, and it has become one of the leading copper producers in India. Sterlite copper project in Tuticorin originally involved an investment of over rupees 3,000 crore and has been successfully operating for the last several years with consistent track record and made India to be a net exporter of valuable copper metal in the international market. As a matter of fact, Sterlite copper has successfully challenged several multinational copper producers in the international market and brought laurels to India. When Sterlite copper was operating, it was meeting around 33% of India's requirement of copper. All these things are no more available because of the closure. Now, let us look into the reasons for the allegations and what is the justifiable reasons or unjustifiable reasons for closure of the Sterlite copper. Number of allegations were made against Sterlite copper by some environmentalists, some political parties, and what appears to be some vested interests for whatever reasons. A careful study of the scenario highlights the fact that such allegations were not true and contrary to facts and prove the total closure of Sterlite copper is totally unjustified. Let us take one by one the allegations. Number one allegation is with regard to sulfur dioxide emissions. One complaint made was that Sterlite copper was emitting sulfur dioxide gas, which is not true. The fact is that there are a number of coal-based thermal power plants and sulfuric acid plants in Tuticorin region, not far away from the Sterlite copper plant. The coal-based thermal power plants in Tuticorin may be emitting sulfur dioxide gas since coal contains sulfur. The coal-based thermal power plants in Tuticorin and sulfuric acid units in Tuticorin do not have flue gas desulfurization units, which will prevent the escape of sulfur dioxide gas into the atmosphere. At the same time, Sterlite copper has desulfurization unit to prevent sulfur dioxide gas emission into atmosphere. So you find the situation where Sterlite copper has a desulfurization plant, whereas the coal-based thermal plants and sulfuric acid plants operating in Tuticorin do not have a desulfurization plant, and they have no way of filtering sulfur dioxide without emission to the atmosphere. The factor has been kept in view. Further, it is quite possible that any sulfur dioxide gas emission has been above normal. It might have been one of the operation of the coal-based thermal power plants or other sulfuric acid plants that may be emitting it out. There is another factor that is here is Tuticorin is a very busy port. Hundreds of vehicles enter into the port every day and come out of the port every day. All these vehicles use diesel as the fuel. As we all know, diesel has sulfur. When diesel-based fuel is being used in the vehicles, through the exhaust pipes, the flue gas that is coming out can contain considerable quantity of the sulfur dioxide gas, which is coming out day in and day out in Tuticorin. That can also be a contributor for the sulfur dioxide gas. In addition to this, there are a few other allegations that were made against Sterlite copper. The Sterlite was said that Sterlite copper is causing cancer to the local residents. This is totally unsubstantiated. See, for example, in Chennai, there is no copper plant, but don't we have cancer patients in Chennai? In Bangalore, there is no copper plant. Don't we have cancer patients in Bangalore? So this is a totally unsubstantiated argument or allegation that Sterlite was facing copper was causing cancer. The another issue was that they were said the Sterlite was letting out impure water into outside the premises. This is also absolutely not true. Sterlite has a system where the water used, processed water used, and the wastewater is being treated, recycled, and reused in the plant without being letting out into the atmosphere or letting out outside the factory premises. This has been clearly told several times by the Sterlite copper to the Pollution Control Board, which has not been disputed. So you'll find a situation where all the allegations that have been made against the Sterlite copper have been not true. One more evidence that is there to show how untrue the allegation is that it is now 3 years or more than 3 years since Sterlite copper has been closed. As far as the atmospheric conditions, soil conditions, and groundwater conditions in Tuticorin region, where Sterlite copper plant was operating, there is absolutely no change for the better now. Again, at the same time, there is no evidence that the health conditions of the local people have improved in any way after the closure of the Sterlite copper. There is no change in the situation at all, whether Sterlite copper was operating or Sterlite copper is not operating. This only proves the fact that Sterlite copper has not caused any problem and the unit has been sinned against rather than sinning. When cases are filed more than once, the Green Tribunal and courts have given verdict more than once in favor of the Sterlite copper operating the unit. That is again a factor that you should not ignore. Now, let us look into the next section, next issue, that is, what is the loss by the Tamil Nadu government incurring due to the closure of the Sterlite copper? Now, Tamil Nadu is a big loser due to the closure of Sterlite copper. All said and done, Tamil Nadu and India have not gained anything by the closure of the Sterlite copper unit, and only some environmental activists, some political parties have derived what we call as vicarious satisfaction by ensuring the closure of the Sterlite copper unit. Tamil Nadu government is losing huge revenue that it was getting earlier when Sterlite copper was in operation. Tamil Nadu government is now targeting to achieve $1 trillion economy in the coming years in the state. This is a very ambitious and appreciable target. Operation of Sterlite copper can significantly contribute to achieve this ambitious target of $1 trillion economy by the Tamil Nadu government. The prospective project promoters in Tamil Nadu, far from outside Tamil Nadu, from other states abroad, may think several times before investing in Tamil Nadu in chemical and metallurgical projects after seeing the bitter experience of the Sterlite copper. It is reported the Vedanta group attempted to sell the Sterlite copper unit, but there were no takers with reasonable offer. This is the press. This has been appearing in the media. Probably this is due to the apprehension that Tamil Nadu government's attitude towards Sterlite copper could be counterproductive and negative for whatever reasons. This could be the apprehension of the prospective project promoters in Tamil Nadu. This is not a healthy sign at all. Now, Tamil Nadu government has to do what it has to do. What is the role it has to play? Let us look into this. Now, Tamil Nadu government has a big role to play. The ball is clearly in the court of the Tamil Nadu government. Tamil Nadu government should decide the future of Sterlite copper by permitting operation of the unit that would create confidence in the mind of investors about investing in large-scale chemical, metallurgical, allied projects in Tamil Nadu. This is a compelling need. Whatever that has happened in the past, Tamil Nadu government should urgently look into the feasibility of permitting the Sterlite copper to resume operation, taking a holistic and progressive view in the larger interest of the state and the country. If necessary, Tamil Nadu government should take the environmentalists, the protesters, well-trained and knowledgeable engineers, scientists, and the local people into the confidence by initiating discussion with them, explaining the need to operate the Sterlite copper unit, and perhaps put forth any precondition to the management of Sterlite copper in operating the plant based on the views of the cross-section of the stakeholders to whom Tamil Nadu government should listen and consult them and take a proactive decision. Tamil Nadu government should realize that Tamil Nadu is losing income and opportunity due to the closure of Sterlite copper. it necessarily erases the impression among the investors in India, abroad, that a group of agitators can bring down a large capacity plants by violence and intimidation. This kind of image will not help the cause of Tamil Nadu. Above all, one important factor that is the views of the local people in Tuticorin who have been demanding that Sterlite copper should be allowed to resume operation must be heard by the Tamil Nadu government. This is particularly so since the agitation in the past by the agitators have been carried out by the agitators in the name of protecting the health and economy of Tuticorin region and protecting the economy and health of the local people. Now the local people are demanding that Sterlite copper should be reopened and should resume operation. This is a very ironical situation. And the fact is, the people on whose name the agitation was carried out are demanding that Sterlite copper should resume its operation. Can there be a greater justification for reopening and resuming the operation of the Tamil Nadu, the Sterlite copper? Tamil Nadu government need to look very carefully into the matter and take a progressive and proactive decision that will satisfy everybody, satisfy the interests of Tamil Nadu, interests of the country, and restore the reputation of the Tamil Nadu as an investor-friendly destination. Thank you very much.